Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today we're doing another discussion video, and the topic is, what is a microbrand watch? Again, with anything that people collect and anything that people are passionate about, you're always going to have people who are extremely open-minded and pretty cool, laid back, and other people who just really take it way too seriously. And we have that in the microbrand community as well. So a lot of times people... I'm going to give you my definition of what a microbrand watch is. So let's just cut to the chase. To me, a microbrand watch is a brand that you've most likely never heard of. It's usually going to be a brand that you're not going to find in those big brick and mortar stores. Basically non-mainstream brands. So when I say mainstream, Invicta, is that a microbrand? I would say no. Would you consider Aragon a mainstream brand? I would say no. Invicta you can find in all kinds of brick and mortar stores. You can find them in your Rosses. You can find them on the Invicta stores. You can find Shop HQ, home shopping networks. They're everywhere, right? With Aragon, you can find them on Amazon, yeah, but for the most part, the main places you buy Aragon watches are going to be through Aragon Direct, or they have a few on Amazon. So I still consider that. I know if we want to really, a lot of the microbrand snobs will actually, really want to split hairs there. To me, I don't get too critical on that definition. I feel like if it's a watch brand that you're probably going to have on your wrist and not find at your local store or any store in town, like if I went to shop for an Aragon watch, probably where I live, and probably, I don't know, maybe 300, 400 miles, maybe indefinitely. I mean, thousands of miles. Are you going to walk into a store and find Aragon? No. Are you going to walk into a store and find a Bulova? You sure will. Invicta? Absolutely. Movado? Those brands, Invicta, Movado, Citizen, Seiko, Rolex, Cartier. Well, I'm not sure about Cartier. I would say Cartier too. Those I believe, although more rare to find, I believe those are mainstream brands. Generally the micro brands are smaller guys. They're ones that you're probably not going to find advertised in a magazine. And remember, guys, I'm sure we'll have the micro brand snobs, and I use that term pretty loosely. I don't really necessarily mean that somebody's a snob, but I do find that anytime somebody looks, I don't want to say looks down, but when they really hold something to like just a ridiculous standard, I kind of find that is a snobbish attitude. Like, oh no, that's not a micro brand. It's a microbrand, right? I don't think it really has to be too complicated. A microbrand really, again, to me, that's what it really means. Non-mainstream brands. Just a few examples that I've reviewed on the channel, and I did this video real quick because a guy, I try to be polite when I reply to people, but sometimes I'm just like, yo, did you even take the time to look? One guy asked, do I ever review microbrand watches? When he commented on a Neymar video. And to me, Neymar is a microbrand company, right? Although it is made, overseas in China, although you will find Neymar all over eBay and Amazon, I still consider Neymar a microbrand because you're just not going to find it in big box stores. Now, he mentioned Steel Dive. Did you ever review San Martin, Steel Dive, Phoebos? A lot of watch snobs will not consider those, or microbrand snobs will not consider those microbrands. Actually, I found a list in some microbrand website where it specifically states the brands that are microbrand. And Delta T, in my opinion, one that I've reviewed about 4 of their watches now, is a fantastic microbrand company. And they don't consider them a microbrand. And one guy had stated because they have retailers. Now, there is only one retailer that ever sold, to the best of my knowledge, a Delta T watch. I actually stocked it. It was somewhere in, I believe that it was somewhere in British Columbia, maybe Vancouver. And when you go and actually look see if they had them, they don't. So maybe at one point Delta T tried to get them in a retail space. Really, I can't even find them on eBay anymore unless you find them pre-owned. So, I definitely consider Delta T. So a few examples that I've reviewed: Visser Dive watches, Delta T, Neymar, Bolin Watchworks, BLWRX, just off the top of my head. Alexander, even though they're owned by Sterling, I've never seen them in any kind of brick and mortar store. I would say they're not mainstream, however, because they are owned by Sterling, maybe, we'll see, how large they become. If you start to see them being pushed out to stores more, like Macy's and Floyd and Taylor and those kinds of places. I don't know all the stores' names, but then I would consider them non-microbrand. They're kind of on the border of mainstream. Sterling, although you don't find Sterling in a lot of brick and mortar stores, you do find Sterling on a lot of websites. And I kind of consider you know, sometimes, again, it's kind of a loose definition on a microbrand. It doesn't have to be over the top. There is no, you know, I believe the microbrand snobs want to kind of have like the microbrand designation, kind of like Swiss made, you know, oh, you can't call it microbrand, it's not microbrand. You know, I don't think we have to go that far with it. Again, loosely, it's a watch, again, to repeat myself for the fourth time, it's just a watch that's not mainstream, you know. A few other brands that I could think of that I've reviewed, that I have, gosh, you know, I kind of forget all the, well, Aragon, of course, I would say Aragon for sure. What else? What am I wearing today? Got a Neymar on today. Mentioned that already. I know there's some other ones I got in there. Anyway, I will do a playlist. You know, that does help for people to find some of my videos. You know, the crazy thing about YouTube, you'll put up a video, you'll think you'll do really well, and it just won't do anything. You know, and then other times you'll put up a video that's like, all right, this is going to help a few people out, and it becomes one of your most popular videos. So it's really hard to determine what's going to do well and what's not. You can do all the right steps and all the right keywords. Ultimately, it's, you know, YouTube's algorithm, I think, determines people's behavior a lot and what they're clicking on, and that kind of determines, you know, how successful that video is. Unless you have an enormous channel. Granted, if you have 1 million subscribers, you put up a video, it's going to do pretty well, right? You have a lot more influence over people. So that's really about it, you know. I'm trying to think of any other brands here, but I would check out the ones I mentioned. Again, I'll compile that playlist. Hopefully people might be able to find those videos easier, having a playlist with some keywords in there. Not sure, but I will link that playlist in the description. You check out some of these cool brands. Remember, in my opinion, ooh, a couple more. Oceaniva. What else? Oceaniva, Aquasea. You know, and a lot of times, I know even things like some people will consider like movement and I'm sure they're gonna, you know, they're turning over right now. They're puking. You know, Movement and Vincero and what's another one? Filippo Loretti. Brands like that. You know, although a lot of them were like crowd-funded, so I believe. And like Kickstarter kind of launches and like social media blasted kind of brands. You know, I don't think you're gonna find those in big box stores, or you're really not gonna find those in a lot of places. So I know that the microbrand snobs will be highly offended that you could possibly consider a brand like that a microbrand, but that's what I consider a microbrand, you know. And I feel like there's microbrands in all different categories of products. You're gonna have your mainstream, you know, very well known. I don't want to say reputable brands, but brands that are established brands that have that name recognition. And then you're going to have the brands that nobody a lot of times will even hear about. You know, you probably won't hear about a lot of the brands I mentioned. Like, I mean, Visser Dive Watch is a perfect example. I think one of the most like underrated watches. You know, and I don't even know, when you search for Visser, it's definitely a company, in my opinion, as many times as I tried to reach out to them again, it's definitely a company that just doesn't have a lot of brand exposure. And Visser is actually a company owned by Von Stahl Fishing Reels, which is a very well-known reel company, you know. And so they just haven't marketed their brand enough to really reach a lot of people. Now that might be, now some people will turn around and say things like, you know, I'm not saying they said this, but you know, we'll kind of the idea that, oh, we want people to you know, naturally find us, you know, and we're not really too concerned with selling to the masses. But I don't know, anybody who wants to make money and make a product, I think they want to sell to the masses. I mean, that's how you get your brand out there. You know, so I don't know, I'm not sure. You never see them, one, advertise, which you don't always have to advertise, but you don't find them like anywhere but the Visser website. And you know, you won't find them on eBay unless somebody's selling one pre-owned. You won't find them on Amazon. And I think, you know, a company like that, really, to get some exposure, either work with influencers like myself, because I mean, really, I'm the only one trying to get those guys any exposure as far as I know. You know, if you haven't checked out Visser, and I know this video isn't about Visser, but you know, if you haven't checked them out, my God, check out their watches. I mean, talk about a cool, clean, quality microbrand watch. Again, with watches, you know, when we start looking at specs on watches, a lot of people will take a watch like a microbrand, and then they have to, just like they do with Rolex, they have to rationalize the price difference. So when you say, oh, well, this Visser watch, you know, if we're comparing, let's say a Visser to like an Invicta Pro Diver, right? Oh, this Visser watch is $800. Well, oh man, well when you look at the specs, right? Just like, let's say the basic specs people look at. What movement does it have? What's the materials? What's the crystal made out of? And what else? That's really the main things. The bezel, right? Bezel, and maybe the type of class, whether it's milled or machined, right? Or stamped. So a lot of people will use those to determine quality, and then once you have a level playing field, where let's say, I'm not saying Invicta does with the Visser watch, because they use different, flame fusion as opposed to sapphire and those kind of things, which to me at the end of the day doesn't make any real difference in the real world, but depending on your usage, maybe it does for you. To me, if you start looking at a watch that costs $800 and then compare it to, let's say, in like some of these, I think some of the Paganis and some of these ones you can find on AliExpress, right? Well, we have those bases covered. What do we have? 316 stainless steel, sapphire crystal, NH35 movement maybe, right? Let's say they have the same movement in this case. The Visser does not have that. I believe it has a Miyota, but let's just say they both have a Miyota movement. Let's say they both have, we can't really use the clasp here because Visser has an amazing band design and carbon fiber. It's amazing. It is an amazing watch. But let's say we had, the bases covered. You're going to have some Microbrand snob or some watch snob rationalize why that particular watch is so much better than this other watch, and they'll just make things up. Ultimately, it'll come down to really the brand, right? And I can guarantee you that there's a lot of Microbrands out there that if you were to just compare it to Invicta, they will pick that apart and say, no way is Invicta on par with this. But yet, when you hold them side by side in your hand, and even if Invicta did have that level playing field, same NH35 movement, same 316 stainless steel, same, let's just say they didn't use flame fusion, they used sapphire. Again, it's ridiculous. But let's say everything's the same. They will find something else to bash the Invicta about for the quality. And people will always rationalize what they like, and I don't mean everybody. There are people that are logical and will actually use common sense to say, yep, these are awfully similar watches. I can't really see much of a difference. When you look at the machining, the fitment, the tolerances, those are the things that we really look at when it comes to watch quality. Now, if we want to take out the microscope and really look at the quality of finishing under macro, that's a different story. You might find some differences there. Remember, to the naked eye, to the naked hands, there's little difference in most watches once you get to that certain level of quality. Again, I always compare quality on kind of like a curve, right? So we have like really cheap, I don't want to say crappy, but let's say really entry-level $10 watches, right? Tinny, crummy, not meant to last, just a really simple watch, right? And that quality, once you start approaching a certain point, right? It's pretty steep. There's a real noticeable difference. Once you hit this point, the quality differences from, let's just say, Pro Diver Point, or let's say Neymar, or a Pagani design, right? If you hate Invicta, Pagani design, right? That quality difference, as you start to approach the high-end luxury brand, it doesn't do this anymore. It does this. It's very slight. And I would even, without just throwing a number on here, just people do like percentages. There is no facts based with, this is a factless percentage. But in my mind, in my opinion, you get, once you hit that 90%, 95% quality rating, let's just say 90, right? At that point, all the differences to get to that next level of quality are going to be measurable differences, right? What is it made of? 904 stainless steel. All right, well, under, if we look at the fact sheet on that, they're not tangible differences. You can't feel it, see it, you can't smell it, taste it. Not that you would watch, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, it's not something you can see without some tool to measure. It's going to be more resistant to acidics. It's not going to make any real world difference. When you look at the accuracy, right? You're not going to notice plus or minus 20 seconds a day, right? You're not even going to notice plus or minus 60 seconds a day. It just doesn't make a difference anymore. Unless you have a specific job that requires pinpoint accuracy, you're probably not going to depend upon any watch, for that matter, to do that. You're going to have equipment designed for pinpoint accuracy. And it's probably not going to be a wristwatch flapping around on your wrist. When you look at, okay, well, much better finishing, not to the naked eye it doesn't. It's going to be under macro lens. So you're going to need tools to measure these differences, when really at the end of the day, to the naked eye, to the naked hands, they don't make a hill of beans of difference. It doesn't make any sense to me. But again, the watch snob, the trolls, they want to rationalize their own purchases, and really at the end of the day, a lot of people like to spend more money on something for the status. So when people see them wearing a Neymar, and they say, what kind of watch? Neymar. And then that person might go home with Neymar. Let me check it out. Oh, it's 250 bucks. Oh, when they go home and they say, oh man, I met this guy, you know, whatever, met this guy at the bar, we were just talking, pretty cool dude, had a Rolex on us. Let me see which one. Oh my God, $20,000. You know, it's perception people have you when you spent a lot of money on certain things, and they're like, wow, he must have money. And that's not the case. There's tons of morons who finance watches, and they, you know, and a lot of people with money. I'm not saying, I don't want to judge anybody who's wearing any particular watch. It just depends on the person. And again, I think that in this whole game of watch collecting, whether it's microbrand, luxury, entry level, whatever it is, you should be nice to one another. Everybody, you know, one guy, again, I know this video, really, all my videos kind of go off on a rant. Just the way I am. One guy just commented, he was for Invicta. He loved Invicta watches. He really liked them. And he was telling me about how much he liked them. He said, yeah, some of them are really hideous. He started picking on the Beavis and Butthead watch. And I'm like, yo, dude, I'm like, why do you have to comment and say it's hideous? Now, that's, again, people might come back and be like, oh, why do you got to be sensitive? It's not me being sensitive. It's using common sense. Because these same people, if you come back and say, oh, man, those watches you like, man, they make you look like a girl wearing those. Or, man, they make you look so feminine. Like, nobody's going to like that. If somebody sees something and you knock it, something that they like, it doesn't really matter. They may still do it. Like, if you knock what I like, I'm going to still like, I'm like, fuck you. I don't give a fuck what you think, you know? But I'm still going to tell you, and I'm still going to try to make you feel how you tried to make me feel. You're not going to have any success doing so with me because I'm confident in what I like, but other people are not. And there's a lot of people out there who you'll really hurt their feelings by saying that. And I just think that as a human race, we could all be a lot kinder to one another. And I just don't think, there's nothing wrong with seeing a watch, whatever it is, and saying, man, that thing's crazy. Definitely not for me. That's a loud watch. There are nice ways to say things without trying to offend somebody. And again, if you don't give a shit about other people's feelings, then great, knock yourself out, be offensive. But I've always found that the people who are capable of doing that are generally the pussies who do it online. They'll never see you out and do that, right? Not that you would ever see me out, but I'm saying anybody. You'll never go up to somebody, some dude somewhere and say, man, nice watch. Like, you get punched in the face, you know? And so a lot of these people hide behind their computer. If you look at the people who drop negative comments a lot of times and try to insult people online, insult microbrands, insult anybody, this video totally took a different path. You'll find that when you go to their channels, it's always like fake names. It's never like, you know, their real name. They never have content that you can identify them with or fire back and try to insult them. It's just, you know, they're little trolls. That's it. They come out the woodwork and they go back and hide. So remember, guys, you know, whatever you like, wear in confidence, wear in kindness, and unless somebody's fucking with you, you know, then let them have it. Don't take nobody's bullshit. And just remember, microbrands are really what you determine microbrands are. And these are my ideas, what my definition of what a microbrand is, and I hope that's helpful for some of you. And again, point of the video is check out some of my videos on these microbrand watches. Definitely check out Visser watches if you're like, you know, I can't do the Invicta, you know, let's say you're, I guess, I'll use the right words here. Let's say you're just more sensitive to that, and I can appreciate that. I guess I can't understand that, but hey, you have to live your life. If you want something that's going to, you know, I guess, I don't want to say this. If you're concerned with what other people think, you know, and you don't want to get a great value with Aragon or Victor or some of the other wonderful brands, and you want something just different without that branding, something that maybe nobody's going to recognize, something with that price point, then check out Visser watches. Check out Delta T watches. They're fine watches. They're beautiful microbrands, and there's lots of other microbrands out there. But remember, again, when I mentioned the quality differences, don't think because you go with a microbrand and pay $800, $900 for it that you're getting some next level quality between that and an Invicta or Aragon or a Bulova Precisionist. You're not. You're paying for the name, you're paying for markup, you're paying for the microbrand status. You're paying for something that is a little more unique. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just know that's where it's going to lie with quality. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that was helpful for some of you. Hopefully before again, I don't mind answering comments, of course not. But, you know, it would be nice if people were like, hey, checked your channel and didn't find it. You know, am I doing something wrong? They're always like, hey, when are you going to do a review on this? One moron said one day, you know, when are you going to review? It was on like some really inexpensive watches. Company said, we'll send it. It wasn't like a Star King. It was something pretty inexpensive. I did a review on it. Why not, right? It's a free watch, and I got to get another video. He's like, when are you going to review something other than shitty Chinese watches? You know, Invicta has some great... It's like, are you serious, dude? I have like 1,000 videos. Like 150 are Invicta videos. Like, had you just taken the time to click Fat Cat Collections and look at the what pops up, like, you will know I've reviewed hundreds of watches on this channel. So anyway, guys, if it's helpful, great. I hope you enjoyed me rant. I like to give you guys my true personality and let you guys you know, listen to me bitch about this stuff. It's great. I love it. If I can help you in any way, let me know. Drop a comment, drop me an email. Always here to help. As always, guys, have a great day. Try to be kind to one another. Take care.